demonstration. Well, I'll get started by introducing myself. My name is Patty Salidon, and I am the Leamos administrator at ProLiteracy. I am one of the course developers working on Leamos, and I also provide customer support to current and to potential literacy partners. So with us today, we have ProLiteracy's Marketing and Communications Manager, Jennifer Paulding, who will be monitoring the questions that you type in the chat box. In this presentation, I will share with you a brief history of Leamos. I will show you the course lessons, what they look like, and share some of the administrator features of the course. I just want to make sure that I say this as a side note, that the presentation is in English, but you will hear the lesson audio and see the course text in Spanish. And so I recommend for you to increase your volume to listen to the audio when I'm ready to show you the screens. Everyone will be muted during the presentation, but you can type your questions in the chat box at any time. We will have some time during the presentation to answer your questions. Leamos was created 27 years ago to address the pressing need for basic Spanish literacy instruction among the Latino community. It was observed that most non-literate Spanish speakers who enrolled in ESL programs found the classes too difficult and struggled to keep up. So eventually they will drop out. Leamos was taught in small groups, primarily by Vista volunteers. Then it evolved to a traditional classroom format by a trained facilitator. In 2004, the Leamos course content was adopted online and used by many organizations throughout California, and has set a model that was tested in various delivery formats and demonstrated it can be replicated. As of December 2017, ProLiteracy became the new home of Leamos, with the focus in expanding it throughout the United States and Latin American countries. Why is Leamos needed? Data shows that illiteracy exists in the United States, and over 1.6 million Spanish-speaking adults in the US cannot read and write in any language. These adults have difficulty engaging in English classes, helping their children with homework, and or succeeding in the workplace. Next, I will highlight the Leamos adult learner profile, which may reflect your community's population. Leamos is for adults who have little to no formal education. Most of the time, they depend on others to fill out forms, interpret information at their expense of their own privacy, and despite of it all, they manage to navigate through a written and tech-driven society. Although the course was designed for adults, middle school and high school students have also taken Leamos. Why use Leamos? Leamos offers a learning platform where the students learn at their own pace with the virtual instructor. There are different literacy program models, but Leamos leverages technology. Leamos is flexible and cost-effective in minimizing the one-on-one tutoring and instructional hours. It has been tested and formally evaluated, and it provides a double impact in that it teaches the ABCs and introduces the learners to digital literacy. How does an organization know if they have a need for basic literacy? One way is to screen if individuals have less than 2 years of education. Therefore, before enrolling a learner, we recommend to administer a student diagnostic to see if Leamos is appropriate for the individual. Here's the structure of Leamos. Let me start with the teaching methodology, which is partially based on the popular education concept from Brazilian educator Paulo Freire. Each lesson starts with a common word, which Freire referred to as a generative word, having the capacity to lead to new words. Lessons are divided by sections, starting from simple syllables, and builds vocabulary, as you can see here in the first module. Each module measures the learner's ability to recognize syllables, words, and sentence structure, and builds reading fluency. It includes tracing the letters and practicing on worksheets. What is needed to implement Leamos? The course is web-based, and it's accessible using any of the latest browsers. There is no need to install any type of software. Learners can use computers, laptops, Chrome notebooks, or any mobile device with internet access. The student workbook contains close to 200 pages, and it's provided in a PDF format available to print. Staff oversight is minimal and needed only while the course is in session. The course normally takes an average of 150 hours to complete. The course needs to be guided by a dedicated tutor or facilitator. The tutor can be a volunteer or a paid staff. Excuse me. The tutor's responsibilities are to administer or review the student diagnostic, assist with the course login, practice reading and ensure comprehension, monitor the written exercises on the worksheets, and administer the final evaluation. A tutor guide is included with the course. Tutors do need to be fluent in Spanish or speak at least at a high school level. I'm going to pause at this time and check if there are any questions that you might have that you already typed in the chat box. So I will let Jennifer check for those and let me know if there are any questions that I may answer.
All right. Hi, Patty. I don't have any specific questions. I just have the one that I think almost every webinar gets, which is if people will get the slides and the recording after the presentation. And I'm believing that we're going to do that, right? That we will send out the presentation and recording?
That is correct. Yes, it's being recorded, so we'll have that available.
Okay, then that is all I have currently.
Thank you, Jennifer. So let's continue and let's dive in and see what the actual course looked like. These are the control buttons used on the lesson screens. And as you can see, these are the universal symbols commonly found in the home devices, such as DVD players and CD players. Each lesson is divided into 6 sections that include the audio instructions. At the beginning of each lesson, a new letter is introduced. You will now listen to a brief introduction of the lesson. And as I mentioned in the beginning, this audio is in Spanish, and you might want to bring up your volume so you can hear the lesson.
Nuestra primera lección se llama Educación. En esta lección aprenderemos a leer y a escribir las 5 vocales. En la lección de hoy, la palabra educación contiene las 5 letras vocales. Aprenderemos bien las vocales para poder avanzar en nuestra meta de aprender a leer y a escribir. Observe las letras vocales que están en la palabra educación. Primero está la vocal minúscula E. Después le sigue la vocal minúscula U. Después la vocal minúscula A. La siguiente es la vocal minúscula I.
Okay, well, I'll pause there. So I want to show you what section 2 looked like. Section 2 introduces the set of syllables to be reviewed. And as the virtual instructor speaks, just like you heard, the text is highlighted. This way, the learner can easily follow the pace of the course. So now you will listen to the review of the syllables.
En esta sección aprenderemos a leer 5 sílabas usando la letra L minúscula y la letra L mayúscula. Primero, yo leeré las sílabas y después las leerá usted. Preste atención al momento de leer las sílabas, ya que al leerlas, estas aparecerán en su pantalla pintadas en un cuadro color amarillo. Leyendo la L minúscula. Lo, la, le, li.
Okay. Each lesson includes a writing section of the letter that is being reviewed. It guides the learner how to write the letter. The virtual instructor tells the learner to ask their tutor for the corresponding worksheet after reviewing this lesson.
Aprendamos ahora cómo escribir la letra B minúscula y la letra V mayúscula. La B minúscula se escribe a como se demuestra en la pantalla. Ponga atención. La V mayúscula se escribe a como se demuestra en la pantalla. Ponga atención. Las letras minúsculas se usan para escribir palabras comunes. Las letras mayúsculas se usan para escribir nombres de personas, apellidos, nombres de países y ciudades.
So as you were able to hear, not only the learner is taught how to write the letter, but it also mentions when lowercase letters and uppercase letters are used. Sections 4 and 7, the sections 4 and 5, learners practice the listening and the reading of two forms of short syllables as words are shown on the images. And lastly, students will learn to read and write sentences. At least 3 new sentences are introduced in every lesson. And to sum it up, this unique course builds each lesson on the previous one. In addition to the lessons, there are practice exercises similar to quizzes in every section that we call reinforcement exercises. The learner can only progress into the next section by passing the reinforcement exercise with at least an 80% or better. Sections can be repeated at any time. So now let me show you what the interactive exercise look like.
Para conocer si usted ha aprendido esta sección, haremos un pequeño ejercicio. Yo leeré una sílaba y usted la encontrará en la lista de sílabas en la pantalla. Cuando la encuentre, use su ratón y oprima sobre la sílaba correcta. Encuentre y seleccione la sílaba es. Muy bien, busquemos otra sílaba. Encuentre y seleccione la sílaba vas. Una vez más, encuentre la sílaba. Esta sílaba no es la correcta. Busquemos otra sílaba.
The course includes an orientation video and 2 tutorial videos. The 2 tutorials are for the login and the mouse tutorials. But let me show you what the actual course look like. I'm going to connect to the login page by clicking on login from our website, from the leamos.org. This is the way that all students log in. And I'm going to log in as a student. So I will type that in. The reason why the login tutorial is needed is because this is the only place in the entire course that a student needs to use the keyboard. So there is a video provided for them to be guided on how to log in. This is a welcome page. This is a page where all the students and administrators will land into. But when the student is ready to start the course for the first time, or if they just want to do it the second time and just continue where they left off, all they have to click is on Inicio. Inicio will take them to where they left off or to the beginning of the lesson, of the course when they get started.
En esta sección, aprenderemos a leer las sílabas de 2 o más letras.
Okay, I will pause the course. As you can tell, everything starts automatically. And the student here, the student that I'm using, currently is at 20% of this module. They simply click on the X to exit out, and it will bring them back to the welcome screen. If the learner wants to review any previously taken modules or exercises, they can always go to the review section and open the curriculum. And this will show the list of all the modules. If they have already been taken, they show a check mark. And if they want to go back, all they have to click is on Inicio, which is to launch for that particular lesson or module they want to review. But since I'm here, let me show you what an actual module exercise look like, because it's very interactive. It has dictation exercises. It has a reading passage, if there's a reading passage for them to review during that module, and it will give the students the multiple choice questions. So let me launch that for now. It will ask if I want to start from the beginning because I've already been using the test student account. So I'm going to say that I don't want it to continue, that I want to start from the beginning. Okay.
En este ejercicio haremos un dictado de 5 palabras. Compare las palabras que escribió con la lista. Ahora compare el enunciado que...
So here, I just moved you forward through the dictation exercises. The reason why I just continue moving forward is because all the instructions are audio instructions and instructs the student to do the dictation. So they're able to listen to 5 words and to a sentence. And it's time for them to practice on their notebook. And then it's self-evaluation to see if they got it all correct or incorrect. If there's any incorrect, it guides them to repeat them on their notebook 3 times. I am pausing here on this instruction video because for students, it's not very common to know how to do or take a multiple choice question or quiz. So this video shows them the instructions and how to do so. These are shown in the first module, then they're able to do this on their own. So the video is submitted for the next modules. But I'm just going to skip through the video. It is there to guide them how to answer the multiple choice. And this is where it starts. Everything has audio instructions, so it does have an opportunity for the user to click and play the instruction and the question where they will be able to answer the question. So I'll just play this one for now.
Lea la oración y conteste la siguiente pregunta. ¿Quién lee?
Okay.
Seleccione una de las respuestas de abajo haciendo clic en el círculo correspondiente.
Okay. I'm just going to send the answer. They get positive feedback if it was correct, and they're able to continue. The next one, if they answer incorrect, they get also feedback with a sad face, so that tells them that it was incorrect, and so on. At the end, there will be a results page where the student will be able and have the opportunity to review and see which ones they got wrong and right. It also gives an opportunity to retake the exercise because they do need to pass it with 80% or better in order to move on to the next module. And it also gives an opportunity to print the results. But it guides the student at that point that they need to have their tutor looking at the results screen so they can know how to do and how to proceed. So it is needed for the tutor to be with the student at this time. I'm just going to finish answering the questions. There are 6 questions per module as for the module exercise.
Estos son sus resultados.
These are the results.
Usted podrá ver el número de respuestas correctas en su pantalla.
Okay. So those are the options that they will have. And if they're done for the day, all the student have to do is be able to go into the gear and finish the session. So that really takes them out of the entire course, logs them off, or if they want to go back to the beginning, to the welcome page. From here, they can move on to module 2 because now they passed that exercise and they'll be able to move into the next lesson. I'm going to log off for now as a student and finish the session. Okay. As previously stated, every section has a worksheet that is part of the printable workbook that follows the same online sequence. The workbook includes the multiple choice and comprehension questions known as the module exercises, like the ones I just showed you, as well as all the activities to practice the reading and writing for fluency. The module exercises are recommended to be taken online and as well on paper, because on paper they're also able to practice and be evaluated on the writing. At the end of the course, there is a final evaluation. In order to achieve competency, the learner needs to pass it with also 80% or better. The evaluation includes fill in the blanks, reading comprehension, reading and writing comprehension questions. All course evaluations need to be taken online. So there is a final evaluation online that they can also take, as well as taking this one on paper. But before I continue, I'm going to pause again and take a moment to check if there are any questions based on the student experience that I just demonstrated to you, or just any general questions that you may have.
Hi, Patty. I do have a couple questions that came in that I could use your help with.
Okay.
One of the questions, a couple of people actually asked this, kind of different wording, but same idea. Do tutors have access to their student profiles to check their progress?
Okay, I'm glad they asked that question, and that will be covered here, but I'm glad that it came up. Let me just cover and jump into telling you what you're looking at the screen. The screen is the administrator resources. So if there is a person in your organization that you want to assign, if you want the tutor to have that access to have the student progress report, as you can see here, yes, they will be able to check the student progress. So they will need to be assigned by the site administrator if they want that tutor to have that access. And so the answer will be yes. As long as I know who the person will be, we give them that security access, and they will be able to access any information about the student.
Thank you. I do have quite a few, so maybe I'll just ask a couple more now, and then we can save the rest for the end and whatever else comes in.
Okay.
Okay. So the next question I have here is, how do you find students who want to learn Spanish? I would think most students coming to literacy centers come to learn English.
Correct. The best way to find the students, because we have to admit they are a population that it's hard to find, or because they will not come up to you or to a person to let them know that they don't know how to read and write, which is very similar to the population that come in to learn English. But for Spanish is the same. Some of the cues that you will find is that the flyers that are available, you always target them for family members, and you always ask the question, do you know someone who doesn't know how to read and write in Spanish? So that's one. It's just by word of mouth and letting people know, and maybe someone will be referred that way. The second way is that if at your center, you have people that are constantly coming to you to translate any documents, or to write them letters, or to ask for favors, to read something for them in Spanish, then that's another way to find out and to be able to identify who might need help in reading and writing in Spanish. And thirdly, I want to mention, it will be if you in your center, if you have parent meetings or any type of meetings for the community, and you constantly see the same person that they get the flyers you give them, they put them away, or they don't sign in, and they usually say, oh, I'll sign in later, or I'll read this paper at home, that are constantly doing that. That's also another cue that you will have, and to be able to identify these this population of Spanish speakers that probably don't know how to read and write in their own language. So I hope that helps. I mean, we have to admit it is a little bit hard, just like you probably have experience with the English speakers when it comes to helping them or just to identifying them.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I will ask one more, and we'll move on, and then we'll just continue asking the rest throughout the presentation or at the end, because there's quite a few.
No, try to speed of them.
Okay, so this question is, what is the time between when they can retake a section? So I'm trying to read that correctly. So how long in between each section, I think?
I'm trying to understand the question, but if it's how soon can they move on, or?
Oh, wait, no. What's the time between when they can retake a section? So if they need to retake it, do they have to wait a certain amount of time? I think is what they're saying.
Good question. Well, as you saw on the screen, those reinforcement exercises will not allow them to move forward into another section. So right at that moment, they have to retake it in order to move forward in that lesson. Second, there is a second opportunity at the end of the module. Again, the course is divided into 9 modules. So when they finish one module, they will get a report of all those reinforcement exercises with a percentage. So if by any chance they missed any of those reinforcement exercises, it will give them a second opportunity to click. There will be a link that will take them back to retake that specific reinforcement exercise. So with that, they'll be able to move forward into the next module. So, and if they want to review them and retake them again after a month, after 2 months, let's say that they still want to go back and check previous modules, they can do so by going to that second section. Oh, I'm not logged in. So they can go back to that second section where it says review, and they go back at any time. It's just going to move them backwards instead of moving forward. So I will recommend, if they need to move backwards, to do it as soon as possible so they can just continue to move forward in the course without too much delay.
Okay. Unless you want to continue questions, we can just move on and we'll ask throughout.
Okay, well, I just have 2 more slides, and which this one I already covered. So yes, let me finish up and then I can focus in all the questions.
Great.
Thank you, Jennifer. Like I said before, here what you see is the resources available for the site administrator. And these administrators are assigned staff members. So that would include your tutors or the administrator in charge of Leamos that will be running Leamos at your site. And they will have access to these things. 1, to enroll students. They will be able to assign the course of Leamos to that student. And they will be able to view or download any of these 3 reports here. And we're adding 1 more. So it'll be 4 reports that are available to download or to view. There are training videos and handouts that will provide the instructions on how to use all these components. And so with that said, let me tell you what the subscription includes. So this is our last screen, because I want to tell you that what the subscription includes, which is a 1-year access for every learner. A copy, they will also receive a copy of the student workbook, a tutor guide, and call support, and the training videos and handouts that I just mentioned. The pricing of Leamos is shown, but I just want to highlight that if you purchase more than 5 subscriptions, there are some savings per subscription. I do want to mention that each subscription is for 1 individual learner because they are assigned a unique username. All purchase subscriptions need to be used within 12 months. And in the case of any learner that does not continue with the course, we are able to replace that subscription. Only if the learner has been inactive for more than 60 days or if they did not complete module 1. So if they didn't go beyond lesson 5, we can always replace that subscription if they have been inactive. Okay, so with that, we reached the end of this demo, and I'll be more than happy to answer any of the questions that are left. I don't know if this also brought up any new questions.
Okay, yep, there's quite a few, so just let me know if we need to kind of cut it short. So my next question, let's see. After completing the 150 hours, what grade level is the student at in Spanish?
They will be approximately at a 3rd grade level, 3rd or 4th grade level, reading level, when they complete the course, which is the 9 modules.
Okay, how different is this from Rosetta Stone?
Oh, that Rosetta Stone is a Spanish language course. So they speak the language versus literacy. So Leamos teaches the literacy, which is the reading and writing, which is not taught by the Rosetta Stone. It's known to be the language course. And this is not a language course. So if there's any people that want to learn how to speak Spanish, Leamos is not the course for that.
Okay. sorry, moving my keyboard. Let's see. The student cannot read. So how can he read the menu directions? He needs a live person with him.
That is correct. That's why the tutor's role is to help them the very first time or a couple of times, whatever it takes for them to remember how to log in. So they're instructed how to log in. And it's very important to let the student try it themselves, because with that, they learn how to type in their username and password. And the only thing the student needs to do is click on the inicio, click on to launch the course. So that's all they have to do, really. And then all the rest of it, it's not reading. The actual course has all the instructions recorded as audio. But that's why there's required to have a tutor with them during the time that they're taking the course.
Mm-hmm. Okay, this one you and I were just actually discussing before the presentation, but I didn't get to it before you. So I'm going to go ahead and ask, how long does it take to complete the Leamos modules from start to finish, and how many hours per week does Leamos recommend for the session?
Okay, yeah, in total, it takes an average of 150 hours. But what is recommended is for a student to be able to take the course approximately, it's 4 to 8 hours. But the way we recommend it is 3 days a week, 2 hours a day. So if you are able to have your site and match that tutor to that student and are available at least 6 hours per week, that's how long they can meet weekly until the end to finish the entire course.
Okay. Is this being sold through New Readers Press as well?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
Yep. Is this being sold through New Readers Press as well?
Oh, no, it's not. This is the course, the purchase will have to come through myself by email, or we're going to have it available online to make the purchase online pretty soon. So you can go directly to the leamos.org webpage and you'll be able to put the order there. Give us another month or so and that will be activated on the leamos.org. But if in case you want to get it anytime now, I'm able to provide an invoice, I'm able to provide proposals, anything like that in the meantime.
Okay, great. Let's see. After completing Leamos, would learners be able to transition into ESOL, or do they need further assistance?
We had some students has been successfully been able to transition into ESL. So definitely after Leamos, they will be able to start with the level 1 ESL courses that they might want to enroll in. And that's the purpose of Leamos, which is considered a pre-ESL course that will help them to launch to the next level.
Okay, I just have a couple more. Once they finish the course, at what level are they writing? Can they write paragraphs or simple sentences?
They would be able to write complete paragraphs. Some of the testimonials that we have had in classrooms is that, well, as a matter of fact, now they were able to write letters to their family members. So some of the exercises at the end of the course is that they write a paragraph about themselves, their history, where they're from. So yes, I will say paragraphs, because the stories that we have seen have been amazing. How even family members, they haven't even completed the course and they already wrote letters to their family members in their countries.
That's great. I think we kind of already touched on this a little, but in another question, but they ask it a little differently. Is it recommended that students complete Leamos before taking an ESL class, or can students complete Leamos while concurrently taking an ESL class?
No, I will do the first one. They will need to complete Leamos first before they can enroll into ESL.
Okay, and this is a little earlier. Does the student summary show where the breakdowns are when they need to retake a module?
Well, the breakdowns will be shown at that moment. Like I said, as soon as the module is completed, they will need to retake or correct any information then before they can move on. So yes, it will always show the breakdown. It's everything's broken down by modules. Every module is broken into two, so we'll show exercises and lessons. So at every point where it ends, it will always have a summary that the tutor needs to look at, so they can assist the student and help them move forward as needed.
Okay, still have a few more. Are we okay to keep going?
Yes, I think we're okay in time here. Yeah, we have 10 more minutes, so.
Great. We have some good questions here. Does the tutor need to be with the student for all 6 hours per week?
Well, there are different points in time, like I mentioned during the tutor role. At one point, the student will be, and we recommend headphones, so the student will probably be reviewing the lessons on their own with the headphones on. So what the tutor will need to, they can be preparing some, because not only we recommend to have the student like looking at the screen and taking all the course on their own, but the tutor can be doing some preparations of some, hands-on activities. We do have materials available if they're needed, like flashcards. There's a workbook that includes some activities. So there can be some preparation that maybe the tutor will like to do off the computer. So they can be preparing for that in the meantime, but not necessarily be looking over their shoulder while the student has the headphones on and reviewing the lessons, but always watching out when it's time for them to write on the worksheets, because as soon as they're done, they're gonna need the worksheet. And the tutor does need to be kind of looking over their shoulder to make sure that they're writing the letters in the correct direction as noted on the worksheet. So it's flexible, but they do need to be around and available to the student.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Do Pro Literacy members get a discount subscription?
Okay, well, the subscription is already discounted. So $60 per user or even $55 will be already the discounted price. So there's no additional discount from that rate. Yeah, so that will be the cost. So there's no other discount on top of that.
Okay. This is a good one. I don't know this one. Can Leamos be taken using a smartphone or tablet?
Yes, and that is the great thing about Leamos being housed now by Pro Literacy, that the course became available now to be used on mobile devices. So it could be taken on a cell phone, tablet, and any platform, if it's a iPhone, iPad, or even Samsung, or Android. So yes, it is available as long as they have their internet connection or even a Wi-Fi available.
Yeah. Okay, is there a recommended age for taking this course?
Yes, it will have to be 16 and over. Like I mentioned, we have had middle school, I think at least 14, 15 years old, but even middle school and high school students. So that will be the minimum age, middle school age.
Okay, let's see. Do you find that those with learning disabilities respond well to Leamos? Sorry, I'm just reading the rest of the question. I asked because the questions keep coming in, so my screen keeps moving. Let me jump back over there. Okay, do you find those with learning disabilities respond well to Leamos? I ask because in English adult literacy, we have those with learning disabilities, and they respond to different strategies than the average learner.
Mm-hmm. That is correct. No, there are always some challenges, but they do respond well because there is a lot of repetition. So every syllable or sentence, there are repetitions in it. So, and they can go back at any time. But just as with any English speaker, there are some challenges. So that's why it will be important to find the correct tutor that can work with that learner.
Okay, let's see. Okay, how is 16 and older? So you mentioned middle school age earlier?
Yes, it could be 13, 14 and up.
Okay. I'm gonna go on to the next one. Once Leamos is once Leamos is bought, is the price for each person or for the course?
Yes, like I mentioned before, the cost is per individual. So the licenses cannot be shared because every user or subscription will be for that one particular learner. So the only time that it can be replaced will be if they don't continue with Leamos within those 60 days and they have been inactive or they have not completed the first module. But every seat will be per student.
Okay. Let's see.
We have about 5 more minutes, so just wanted to let you know.
Yeah, we still have a couple more.
Okay.
So this is an interesting one. What is the research supporting that our adult learners will do better learning to read in their own spoken language? I know funders will ask, and that is true.
Yes. Well, we can get back to the specific research. So if you can take that information from that person, Jennifer, will be great. But it has been shown that what we can tell you, I can answer based on experience, but we'll get you that research information. Students have tried to take ESL or have been trying to learn English, but because they never learned those basics in their own native language, they have not been successful. So, I mean, I will have to get back to you what the research says on that. I mean, definitely they do need the basic in their own native language to be able to learn any other language. But I can get you more specific information what the research says.
Okay, we'll do that. Let's see. Is it possible to get a free trial?
I am working on that. You will probably be able to get a trial with not all the sessions, not all the modules, but we are going to start creating a short trial where you can just see some of the questions or some of the parts of the course. So I'll have to get back to you on that. If we can get your email information and name as well, and we'll let you know when the trial is ready.
Okay. I think I have one more question, maybe. Nope, okay. I have 2 more questions. All right. Let's see. Is there a cost for the student diagnostic? Can we administer that diagnostic before purchasing if we think it may be useful for a learner?
I can make that available to you. So yes, that is a great way to begin evaluating if you're going to have those learners. So you can actually, you know what, for those that I need to get back to with those questions, please, if you can take down my email address on the screen right now or my phone number, please email me directly with those specific questions. And if you need the diagnostic tool, I can also email it to you. So please feel free to take down my email address and I'll reply with that tool for you.
Okay, and I think we have time for one more?
Yes, we do.
Okay. If students have had some schooling, how do we know who we should refer to Leamos?
Okay, well, one will be that diagnostic tool, so you do want to get a hold of that one. The diagnostic tool is very basic, so if they're able to answer all of the questions, we know Leamos will not be for them. If they're able to answer just a few, there are instructions on the second page, then there will be potential students for Leamos. But we do have like a second tier to evaluate that because some of the learners that want to learn how to read and write, they did have some schooling. Maybe they went up to 3rd grade, you know, to school in their country. We can always provide that module 1 exercise as a second tier to see if they will maybe all they need is to test out of the first module. And also if you're interested to see the entire outline of the curriculum, I can email that to you. But if they pass, maybe they just need to skip that first module and move on to module 2. We can also test them out from that by taking that module exercise. So that's how you'll be able to find out.
Okay, well, I don't see any more questions coming in. Those were fantastic questions, though. Yes. But that's all I have on my end.
Okay, well, I just thank you so much, Jennifer, for your help and for managing all the questions coming in. I just want to thank all of you for being part of this webinar. I appreciate your time and I really hope that we remain engaged. Feel free to contact me by phone or email because some questions may arise after today's webinar. If you want to present this information to a supervisor, anyone that might need more information, again, we'll make this presentation available. I have other documentation material that you can present, and in case you need it, don't hesitate. Please email me. You might also need a customized proposal. I'll be more than happy to do that for you. So thank you, everyone, and have a wonderful day.